Once again in my life, I have a movie worth reviewing.
What the world needs now is a love, sweet love. It's the only thing that there's just too little of. What the world needs now is love, sweet love.
Joker Folie, Deux comes to us from Todd Phillips, director of The Hangover, but also The Hangover Part 2 and Part 3. Oh, didn't think about that going in. Now this makes way too much sense. While struggling with his dual identity, Arthur Fleck not only stumbles upon true love, but also finds the music that's always been inside him. I don't know what to say. Well, I do know what to say, but at this exact moment, no idea. And if you're wondering why my makeup looks completely different from the beginning of the video, this I did by myself. The makeup you saw at the beginning was done by a friend of mine, and we wanted to promote the Joker movie at the theater I work at, so they dressed me up like Joker, and I was all like, this makeup is way too good, I want to put it to some use first. But no, for this video, you gotta deal with this mess. So just to let you guys know, I am a huge Joker fan. And I don't just mean the movie, I mean just the character in general. He is one of my all-time favorite villains, if not my favorite. Actually, right now, my second favorite villain is probably Homelander from The Boys, because when you think about it, they're almost the same exact person, just one's in clown makeup. So obviously, yes, I just adored 2019's Joker film starring Joaquin Phoenix as the Clown Prince of Crime. The movie was dark, unsettling, even hard to watch at points, but also had some amazing cinematography, a phenomenal lead performance from Phoenix, and easily one of my all-time favorite musical scores in any film ever. That score is so eerie and unsettling that every time you watch this movie, it just hits hard and it's so goddamn great. Oh, and it was my favorite movie of 2019. But keep in mind, this is the same year we had Avengers Endgame and a Quentin Tarantino movie. This movie is just that freaking perfect, at least to me. Now, despite the praise I just gave the predecessor, never in a million years did I think we needed a Joker 2. The story ended perfect with Arthur becoming known as the Joker, Bruce Wayne's parents being killed once again, which it just works in the context because in the next scene, he tells his counselor that he wouldn't get the joke that he's laughing at. And he's just thinking maybe, what if this kid grew up and became something, or I don't know, that's my theory. But again, it just ended perfectly. But, you know, highest grossing R-rated movie of all time, so let's just add on to this already perfect movie for absolutely no freaking reason, besides that. But honestly, when I heard that they were not only bringing in Lady Gaga as Harley Quinn, but also that it was going to be a full-blown musical, it quickly piqued my interest. And true, the only question I asked after the first film was, how does Harley Quinn come into all this? But I didn't need a whole freaking movie about it. But despite some bad thoughts and also the bad press this movie was getting, I was still hyped for this movie and was so eager to see it. And guys, I gotta be straightforward with you. I've seen a lot of movies this year, and a huge number of them have disappointed me. Even ones I have liked have disappointed me. But when it comes to Joker Folie, Deux, without a doubt, this one feels like the biggest punch to the fucking gut. I did not like this movie. Almost at all. Now, before I get far ahead of myself, there are some great scenes in this movie, and it is just as well made as the first film. It's just with the execution and some of the choices that they made just dumbfounded me. It's honestly kind of mesmerizing the kind of bad this movie is. So normally, I try not to see anyone's reviews before getting my own. I might check the Rotten Tomatoes score, but that's it. But I did end up seeing Sean Chandler's out of theater reaction, and I think, just like always, he put it best. This is just an overly long epilogue to the first movie. And not a good one. This isn't Toy Story 4 where it's all like, okay, we have the story about Woody and it's pretty good with him and Bo and whatnot. This so wasn't needed. But basically what he means by it's an epilogue to the first movie, if you don't get it, is that the story ended perfectly. But there were just a few loose ends that they needed to tie up. When it comes to Joker 2, no, they didn't. So before I sadly go tear this movie a new one, I'll get my positives out of the way. The first thing is that, just like its predecessor, the movie still looks incredible. I've always loved this different take on Gotham City, where it's more icky and grittier. Yes, just like a Martin Scorsese movie, which is what the first one was constantly referred to as. A Martin Scorsese ripoff or take, I don't fucking know. But this time around, half of the movie takes place at Arkham, and it's just as awful as the rest of the city, if worse. Yeah, you thought Arthur had it bad outside of the asylum? Dude, the guards in this movie are fucking terrible. There is one point where they throw him down the stairs head first, they are constantly beating on him, and they even rip off his clothes at one point. But the movie also has great cinematography, great atmosphere, and I love how it can go from being super gritty at one point to super upbeat with the musical numbers at another. Oh, and don't worry, we'll get to the musical numbers in a moment. Once again, Joaquin Phoenix fucking nails it as Arthur Fleck. I didn't mention this before, but this is my favorite performance of Phoenix's career. He's the character that you really want to root for, and you just hope everything turns out okay for him, but with some of the things he does, you're just like, no, do not root for this guy, no. This time around, he's basically shut down due to both the events of the first film and the abuse he's taken at Arkham Asylum. But once he spawns a connection with Lady Gaga's Lee Quinzel, he thinks that life might just be a little bit better for him. I like the direction they took with him this time around, and I like that they actually have to question if Arthur has like multiple personality disorder and whether or not the events that took place in the first film were caused by Arthur or Joker. Now when it comes to the musical numbers, I like those sequences a lot. They were well put together. When they have an entire set for one, they are great. And when the movie does get to be too dark, they are just a little moment of relief, and they do work great on their own. Now I did just say, on their own, they work fine. But in like the whole grand scheme of things and just this icky, gritty world that we're taking place in, the choice to make this a musical makes absolutely no goddamn sense. Now I do get why they did it, because Arthur has like this whole affiliation with music or something, and I like that they at least tried to see if this would work or not. But when I say the musical numbers felt out of place, they really felt out of place. To the point where this not only felt like parody, but it felt like someone just randomly asked, hey, what if that movie was a musical? Actually, this is gonna be such a weird ass comparison, but every time they started singing, especially Joaquin Phoenix, it just made me think of that SNL skit they did when the first one came out, where it was David Harbour as Oscar the Grouch, but it was a parody on the first Joker movie.
If everyone calls you trash, and everyone treats you like trash, why don't you just become trash?
But in the end, I am still glad that they tried this whole musical aspect out just to see if it would work or not, and it really didn't. But when it comes to Lady Gaga as Harley Quinn, or as she's called in this version, Lee, I thought she did good in this role, and I like that they tried to take a different approach with her over what they usually do with her backstory. It's just, I don't like this approach in the long scheme of things. Her whole backstory is usually that she's a psychiatrist who fell in love with Mr. J. He pushed her into a vat of acid, which inevitably turned her into Harley Quinn, as like we know her today. But here, she's just a Joker-obsessed fangirl. Yes, really. Gaga plays the role very great, and she can of course sing great, which is why she gets most of the musical numbers. I just wasn't a fan of this portrayal of Harley. And by the time we get to the end of the movie, she felt very underused. Which, speaking of that butt-fucking mother-sucking ending, god damn it! Not only does it just ruin the entire fucking movie, but it even kind of ruins the first one, to the point where I'm just like, I don't even want to think that this one exists. I want to get more into it, but it's such a major fucking spoiler, and it's the ending, and I can't really talk about it in this non-spoiler review. Maybe I'll do a spoiler review, probably not. Maybe I'll do like a short spoiler review. I don't know. I just really need to talk about that ending with somebody. Oh, and yeah, this movie's over 2 hours and 18 minutes long, and the movie's so freaking dull at points that I did start to feel that runtime after a while. Oh yeah, I also forgot to mention that not only is this a freaking musical, but it's also a courtroom drama. And it works fine as that, but there's one point where they bring someone in to like say their behalf and whatnot, and it just ruins something that you were just supposed to guess for yourself in the original. But when they did bring in the little guy from the first movie, I legit love this scene. I wanted to know exactly what he was going to say and how Arthur was going to react to it. Now you may be wondering, do I hate this movie? I'm not gonna lie and say that there isn't just a tad bit of hate in me with this film, but I guess it could have been worse. Even worse. God, I did not like this movie. I really didn't, and it just disappoints the hell out of me. But I will say it is so bad to the point where I wish this was a real freaking cigarette. No, seriously, this is a toy I found at Spear Halloween. Like, I didn't know they made these. So yeah, Joker Folie Deux is without a doubt the biggest disappointment of the year so far, and it had no reason to exist. For my recommendation, I'd say at least see it once to get an idea of if it works for you or not, but don't go in expecting the first one. There are aspects of this movie that I still appreciate just like the first one, and I like the musical numbers on their own, but I just found the entire movie kind of dull to even boring at points. So kind of like how the name Arthur Fleck hit Gotham like a hurricane, this movie punched me in the face like a fucking hurricane. I'm not even kidding. I got out of the movie and I was so destroyed about how bad it was that I almost cried. But then I realized I'm a fucking man. I don't cry over simple shit like that. I am sadly gonna give Joker Folie Deux a see. What the fuck was that? Seriously though, guys, this one hurt, and I just wanted to be the one guy who went to this movie saying, oh, what the hell are the critics talking about? This isn't that bad. But no, they're right. Ah, God. Oh, and I forgot to mention, this movie has a great opening scene that will just get you hyped for the rest of the movie. Don't let it fool you. It's great, but don't let it fool you. By the way, you guys realize this movie's coming out the same date as the first one? Yeah, October 4th. And I don't think that was by coincidence. I think they purposefully did it. Thanks so much for watching, you guys. Subscribe to my channel, like this video, turn the notification bell, and while you're at it, go follow me on Instagram and TikTok at Trev's Movies, and I'll be back later with more reviews. But most importantly, good night. And always remember, that's life.